Obviously, we've done 4 weeks before. It's great to have everybody back. It's difficult for me because I can't see anybody, but hopefully you can all say hi as you go about the class tonight. Tonight, we're going to draw 2 things. We're going to do a more simple drawing, which will give you a bit more freedom, and then something a little bit more specific for the second half. And you'll get a better idea as we go along the class. One thing we're introducing tonight, which is very exciting, and I know everybody's literally absolutely can't even believe it myself. If you had a comment, if you're watching this on YouTube and you had a comment, we might bring it on the screen like a little ticker tape here saying, "Justin, you are amazing," like that. Please, can you draw something else that's more exciting? So yeah, if you post a comment tonight, we are going to try and put them on the screens. So that would be a nice thing to get a little bit more interactive. We're getting a little bit more technical week by week, and we're obviously growing our community. So now we've got 650 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy. We're going to be doing this week, maybe one more week, and then we'll see where we're at. Thinking of other things, probably make an announcement next week about whether we're going to continue for another 6. We need some feedback on that and how we're going to go, whether we're going to do something different, whether we're going to split into a kids class and an adults class. But hopefully the kids can sort of join along with us tonight and enjoy what we're doing. I try and make it as simple as possible. So it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be an hour of release. Hi, Kira. I can say hello to people now. That's cool. And that's totally thrown me. The fact that I've got someone on the screen and somebody saying hello. So, yes, I've totally forgotten what I was going to say. I'll have a little cheeky glass of wine just to get it going. So, yes, what I was saying, this is meant to be an hour of you are amazing. How am I supposed to do an art class when I'm getting comments on my screen? This could be a fun night. So, yeah, you've got an hour away from all that's going on in the world. So I want you to switch off, listen to me, look at me, draw my pictures, draw your own pictures, share them on Instagram later. That's an important thing because I share everything. If I get sent a picture later on, I'll share it to my story on Instagram. So we get seen by a bigger audience, and also on Facebook. So if you follow my Instagram, Justin_Eagleton, and find me on Facebook, Justin Eagleton, etc. And tell more people about the class if you enjoy it. That way we just build our community. I want to try and get to 1,000. If we can get to 1,000, we'll have absolutely smashed lockdown. So, right, first of all, every week for the new people who've joined us tonight, and obviously the people who are with us every week, I like to show a couple of pieces of artwork to show you that I can actually draw or paint. There is that thing. People are like, "Who's this man?" So I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it this way. So this is one of my paintings. I'll get it into camera there. We've got a hello from Jeff in Texas and Mandy. They'll be pleased with this because they're big City fans. So this is an acrylic painting. If I can get it a bit closer to the camera. This is Sergio Aguero in acrylic. Okay. And you can sort of see the size of that. I've been going through this sort of phase of making things look like they're in some sort of cinematography type. And then this one, that's on my website if anybody's interested in buying Aguero. And then this is Chadwick Boseman. So this, again, is another new style of artwork that I've been trying to experiment with. So this is an acrylic portrait painting. Again, I'll bring it close to the camera for everyone so you can have a little inspection of the sort of detail. So that's all acrylic painting. You see close up if I get an edge on it. And then in the background there, we've experimented with using bits of comics from Marvel, etc., to make that background. So it gives you a bit of an idea of what you can actually do when you sort of start to explore painting more. And then quickly, this is, if anybody watches SAS, Who Dares Wins. So the guys with Ant Middleton, Jason Fox, Ollie Ollerton, etc. I've been painting those. So this is the painting of, I'll try and get it the right way. That way. Yeah, so this is Jason Fox, who is an absolute legend. He's been really, really pleased with this. And he's just a really lovely man. Bit scary, but only scary in a good sense. So that's him in his military helicopter. So these are some of the sort of levels you can get to. And if you see anything on my website that you like, that you want to buy, if you see any of the aluminium, acrylic I sometimes offer things that are on acrylic aluminium, A2, A1, etc. This is what it looks like. So that is what you get. This is an A2, by the way. So this was the competition that we did where we just literally released 15 images like this. And that is on a sheet of acrylic. And if I get it close to the camera, it's a sheet of, basically a sheet of aluminium that's laminated. And then it goes over the top and you end up with this fantastic piece like this. So it's only the top quality stuff. That's the only thing I've got. Thank you, Sienna. And this is the Hacienda piece. If anybody, again, that's out at the minute. That's selling really well. I'm doing a signing next week with Peter Hook to get all these signed. I'll just give you a quick look at it anyway while we're here. Again, that's printed on the same sort of thing. But that's the full Hacienda. My tribute to the Hacienda, basically. And again, that's printed on a sheet of aluminium. So that's the A2. The A1 is really big. And the A1 is signed by me and Peter Hook. So it's like a real collector's item. And if you want one, give me a message later on. I'll go to the Hacienda website and you can try and get yourself one. Excuse me. So lovely to have everybody with us. We are going to start our first drawing apparently tomorrow. Hi, Gary. Apparently tomorrow it's the Chinese New Year. So hello to everybody who's watching. I don't know any Chinese. But I thought we'd draw something that was slightly in that Chinese tradition. So I've had a little look round tonight. Let me just get some paper on here that gets rid of me. My little doodle. Okay. And then we're going to go on this little fella. So this is going to be our first drawing tonight. And it is basically a dragon's eye. Now, there are not many dragons roaming the fields of the Pennines and across Saddleworth, but I believe this is what a dragon's eye looks like. And we're going to put it fully on screen now. And what this is doing is taking our drawings of eyes just one step further. It's quite a simple, to me, that's quite a simple drawing. It's very tattoo-like. I'm just going to put these underneath because then you can't see through to my picture underneath. Okay, so I'm going to leave this on screen at all times so you'll be able to see it. I'm going to add a little bit of my super tape. Okay, so we're going to start with the shape of the eye. Very, very simple shape of the eye. And all this outside can be anything that you want it to be. When we share it later, we can always tag me in, obviously. But it'd be really nice to tag in like hashtag Chinese New Year or something and see if we get any feedback. You know, some of our art class get some feedback on their drawings. So I'm going to draw this as I see it. You can draw along with me or you can just draw it yourself. So for a very starting point, we want to get the initial shape of the eye. Yeah. So I'm going to do what I can see. So nothing more, nothing less. And I say it every single week, it doesn't matter how accurate you think you are drawing. Just do what you think looks right to you. I'm doing very, very light pencil. This is a HB, so most people have HBs knocking about. HB pencil is usually in that drawer in the kitchen. You usually have about 4 of them, along with your batteries and your plugs. And all the other rubbish that you keep in the cupboards. So that's it. That's my basic starting point. Obviously, we need a rubber tonight because I'm going to have to stick this down because it's moving all over the show. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to do a very faint set of shapes. And I'm going to try and recreate this over here. So it's somewhere here. Okay. It's somewhere here. It follows the line of the eye. Somewhere here. And again, you can do absolutely any manner of shapes. The critical part of this is the eye. If the eye's right, the rest of it can be anything. So again, very simple, kids. We can get the kids all doing their favourite dragon's eyes. Kids are still fascinated by dragons. Okay, and I'm literally just add in. The best thing about this sort of drawing is it doesn't have to be right. There's nothing. No, there's nobody said it has to be perfect, being as it's a dragon. I'm literally just I can make this up, and it still have that same sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the starting point. We've got some lines on the page. We can add a few more up here. Okay. Yeah. And again, some up here. And then a bit more up here. And like I say, when we finish tonight, we finish the class. This is this, there, yeah. And just remember that the flow of these is really fluid. It's really fluid. No, there's no straight lines. Everything is curved. Everything is just nice and fluid. So when we've got the basics in with a HB, the main thing that I'm going to do here is this sort of slit like a snake's eye. I think if we go with that, and once we've got that in place, I mean, it's pretty much central, and it sort of does come towards the front of the eye. Yeah, and it goes about halfway. And I think that'll do. That'll do. That's probably the hard part, as we say every week. Once you've got the fleshed out part of the drawing, if you sort of sit back and look at that and think, well, that don't look far off that, to be honest, other than all the shading, then that's your starting point. Do the bits that are easy. So then we need a lot more weight along this top edge. So I've changed my pencil now to a B. In fact, I'm going to go even crazier, as crazy as it gets, to a 3B, which is a real soft pencil. If anybody's got pencils and a set of pencils, because then you can literally add this here, and this gives you that thickness and that weight. We know this is jet black, so let's put that in as well. It's absolutely jet black. There's no shade, nothing else other than it being black. You know, and already you're thinking it looks like some sort of eye. Could be some sort of snake. This will end up looking more like an illustration, to be honest. But it gives you a good idea of how to build a drawing, and that is what we do every single week. Is we choose the shapes we can do. We do all these easy shapes, and then we just sort of add to it. We love our Thursday art classes. Thank you, Justin, from Lucy Who's 11. Hello, Lucy Who's 11. I hope you're having a nice time, and I want to see yours and your family's pictures by the end, please. Okay, so all we're doing here now, we're going to give a bit of weight to all the lines. So anything, I would suggest, anything that's the bottom half of a line will go there. Yeah. Anything that's the bottom half of a line, and we'll go there, because this is where the weight of the line is, or the curve, and this is the shadow. So let's do that there. And the same with this side. Everything that's weighted needs to be the bottom half. So that one is actually a top half as well. So we'll go with that, and we'll do a little bit of that spike. Okay. And then we're going to go in here, and there. And then we're going to go, see, most of the ones on this side seem to have weight top and bottom, but it is an illustration. So I'm going to curve this one a little bit more than it probably is, just to get a little bit more, you know, and the spikier it gets. And then this bit, I'm going to make this up. I'm not even going to look at the picture and just see. I've got a faint line, but I'm going to make this up. So you can do the same. I'm going to go in here and follow that. And then I'm going to, so everything is sort of, if you get what I mean, the eye is curved like that. All these lines are sort of evoking the same sort of thing. And I'm going to go out like that. I've designed quite a few tattoos in the past. I've never actually tattooed anybody, but if anybody's willing to be tattooed by me, that'd be quite interesting. Yeah, I'd love to have a go at it. But yeah, I've designed a few tattoos. I did a big dragon tattoo on one of my friends and designed it, and he had it tattooed on his all the way down his spine. Okay, so all I'm doing now is I've got a lighter pencil. The top half of these is lighter, so we've still got the weight on the bottom half. You can do this how you want. If they go to a more severe spike, and there we've got a shape. It's not exactly the same. We're still missing the bits. They've got these little bits in the background and there. We can add them in if we want. We can decide whether this is how we want our picture. I'm going to do a little nod to Bob Ross this week, just for Jess, because I know she's a really big fan of Bob. So we're keeping the Bob dream alive. It's all gone a bit Bob Ross this week. Anybody who watches Bob Ross, if you ever want to learn how to paint and just how relaxing and amazing painting can be and things he can make from very simple shapes, watch Bob Ross. He's on BBC4 every night at 7:30, but just don't watch him on a Thursday, because that's when you're all with me. It's the man Bob Ross. Thank you. Right, now what I'm doing, I've gone back to the HB. So we've got all the weight in here now. I'm leaving the eye for the minute, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just add just very light shading into these points, and I'm adding it and lifting off. So we're going here and lifting off. So if I do just show you there, this is just the HB. So I'm going heavy here, and then if you lift off like that, yeah, you'll end up with a thinner line. So you should be able to do the same sort of effects. See, if I go really light and then to really heavy, you should be able to do the same sort of things with a HB as you can do with a lot of pencils. You just need a lot more patience. See, if I go onto the edge of the pencil now and into that spine, you're picking up these sort of details. So in the end, we will end up with something here that looks like hopefully oriental and hopefully tattoo-like, I would say. But if you look where I'm shading in the shape of the object. I'm not just shading in any random, I'm shading this way and this way. So it keeps the fluidity of the object, if that makes sense to everybody. Keeps the fluidity of the object. So a few shouts we need is last week, and I forget her name, I should have written it down actually before we start class. So send us a message on screen if you're doing the class tonight. But the girl who won the piece of artwork, I said last week, the girl who did the best, or whoever did the best artwork and had the best comments, etc., I was going to give a prize to. So today I posted off her prize because she did a really cool picture of a bee. So I sent her one of my Manchester maps today. So she should get that tomorrow. And it's going all the way across the world to Bramall. So yeah, it's going by private to Bramall. So I hope everybody's getting something that's sort of starting to look a little bit like this. We're not going fully overboard. You can spend more time after the class doing this sort of thing. Right, I'm going to work on the actual eye now. So I'm going to get a really soft pencil, which is a 3B. And we're going to try and build this sort of shading, this very dark area around the bottom. And all it is, it's just spiking in. So let's just spike it in like this. So let's go with that first. So we've got a bit of a shape. So there's a starting point. It doesn't look great, but it's a starting point. The top bit has got a lot more weight on it because that is the sort of overhang. So this then, the darker this is, the lighter this is, the more overhang you're going to get the sort of impression of. So we've got a really soft pencil, and then we'll make another pass, and then we'll go past it again. And it's, if you can see, I'm still using the soft pencil, but it's getting lighter as we go across. And then that gives this the height, and it looks like that goes underneath. So let's start to bring, oh God, apologies. Right, going to try and bring these a bit more depth now. So we're going to go past these again, and nothing elaborate, nothing perfect. Let's just go up again. They're never going to pass over the same one the same. This is where you've got artistic license to do whatever you want. And in this corner, it's really dark. But it's really dark and soft. But then as we come out, we just go softer and softer. So literally I'm doing actually shading with circles tonight. There. Yeah. And I'm going to go under here. I'm going to bring this a bit more depth. And then I'm going to start building these up again. Okay. I got a message the other day saying this was the highlight of the week, so which was quite cool. I love it. It's great. It's great that we're getting so many people together who are actually enjoying just doing something very different, something they might never have even attempted. Even had messages saying it's the first time I've drawn in about 20 years, but now I'm like drawing all of the random times of the day and stuff. Right, I'm going to add just some of these black things. These can be anything you want. I've no idea what they are in this picture. I'm going to try and sort of pick them out. And then we're going to use this little circly pattern and then follow it like an eye. But like I say, you can do what you want here. Go a bit Bob Ross. Make it your world. I think we might just start. I'm going to do one of these classes with my Bob Ross wig on. Okay. Again, different random things in there. We've got another one here. I don't know what it is, but we'll sort of just make it our own. Okay. This side, again, from top to bottom. Add another one in there. Another one sort of goes to the point. And then we've got these just little ones here that are just doing their own thing. But you can see now it's starting to take on a little bit more life as we build it up. And this is where your pencils come in handy because you've got different pencils, but you've got the freedom now to do whatever you want. You can stick some veins in it, stick some like cracks in it, etc. But what I want to do is, as we've done each week, is just show you where we start and how we can transform literally a blank piece of paper and make anything happen that we are in the mood to make happen. Yeah, starting to come to life. This obviously needs a lot softening up along here. I'm going to do that in a sec. And we've got like 5 or so minutes left before we go on to our sort of next drawing, second half of the class drawing. And like I said, we're going to do another week of the class next week. Feedback would be good from everybody, what you're thinking of it, how you're enjoying it, and where we're going to go going forward. I'm thinking of doing some more advanced classes for anybody who might be interested. I'm also thinking of doing children's classes. Let's see, I'm just making this up now. Okay, I'm going to join that with that just because I can. And we're going to go a bit more veiny down this corner. And then I'm going to just add. And the thing is, what we can do is we could go really, really. You could do this and go really, really, just rub it all in like that. And then if you've got a putty rubber, use a putty rubber, because the putty rubber just lifts it off. And if you've not, I'm going to use a putty rubber. And the thing with oops, God, it's massive. This is a putty rubber. I'll get it on the camera. It's literally like blue tack, but you can shape it into points and stuff, so you can get like perfect things, and you can soften it the same as blue tack. I mean, it's pretty. It's almost like blue tack. But if I create something like that, I've then got a rubber that's that shape, which means I can then start to decide where I want the highlights. So you start to, if I just add a bit of a thing there, things start to pop off the page more than they would have done. I'm going to show you another thing that we can use as well. Somebody was asking me about this. Let me just soften this up and make sure it looks a little bit neater, because it is very illustrative, this, but still want it to slightly look. Let's go in here. But first of all, while I'm thinking about it, can we have a thank you to Pete, as always, who helps us with everything, who's a star, and Jess, who's brilliant and looks after me when I'm the one who does the colouring in, and they're the ones doing all the special stuff behind the scenes to make me look good. So always thanking. Okay, I am, as you can see, making it up, but I quite like it. Hi Justin, me and my mum love your art class from Honor Age. Hi, you're Honor. It's a nice name. Okay, I'm glad you like the art class. Keep on coming. We might be doing a kids class soon. We're just about thinking about it and how we can logistically do it, and timing and all this sort of stuff. And I'm going to add a couple of these in anyway, just for my own. But you see what I mean? We started off with an idea, and it's not ended up the same as theirs, because why does it have to? It doesn't have to. It's your drawing. And then go back to a fine pen so we can give these real sort of life. I'm going to go right around here. You know, make it exactly how you want to make it. And if you think that looks good, I'm going to make... Obviously, I'm going a little bit quicker than I would normally. I take a lot more time over it. But this is another thing I was asked about. This is a Posca pen. And what these do, you can get them in different thicknesses, but they paint in acrylic paint. But they're really good for stuff like this, because if I get the Posca pen on here, if you want to get one, instead of using, you know, this might be a bit more, you know, you can really add to the white bits rather than rubbing it out if you want. And it gives you that ability then to, if you want, to add little bits of detail that you might not be able to pick up. And just see if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. And they're really good. They're a really good tool. This is a 1M. It says 1M there. They're about £3. They're not expensive, but they can add something to your drawing that you might not be able to pick out. So this is our first drawing. It's not exactly the same, but if you cover that up, it looks cool. And that's the thing. This is your drawing. You decide what you want it to look like. You decide how it's going to complete. You can add stuff to it. You can go overboard and add lots more stuff. You could add more of the scales on the dragon, etc. But the main thing is that you enjoy building the shapes, shading, and hopefully I've explained it in a simple enough fashion that, you know, gives you the starting point to be able to have a go at that. So that's quite nice. I quite like that. Okay, so drawing number 2 is equally as random. It's equally as random. I was going to draw something else. So it was Pete who suggested that we go down this route. So here we are. This is not Gary out of SpongeBob. Look at that. Look at that. That's what we're going to attempt. Look at that. You've got 3 generations drawing in different households. Hello, Granny. Hi, Granny Eileen. Hello to all the 3 generations, whoever you are. This is all London Freya. It seems like we've got a lot of kids on tonight, which is cool. So we're going to do this snail. Now you're thinking, why are we drawing a snail? But if you have a look at that, we did shells probably in week 1, I think, or week 2. So we did the shape of a shell, which is obviously his little house. But what we can do with our drawing tonight is it is the curving around, it is going over and round. And then this when you've got more time, we'll see what we can get to in the next half hour. You can build up this texture and this pattern. So we're going to start with the initial thing. I should have done a smaller version of it. I've not got a smaller version. So hopefully you can either, I'll keep dragging it on the screen. I'll have to do that because it's quite a big snail. Sorry, Mr. Snail. Here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to get the shape of the snail. Let's drag it in and out. It's probably the quickest it's ever moved. There you go. We want to build this shape. We want these bits. If somebody's a scientist, I'd kind of call them antenna. They can be any, well, I don't know what they are. I think it probably sniffs or feels with them. And then we've got the shell. So let's try and get the basic shape, and then we'll bring the picture back in. So depending on how big you want it is how good this next will be. I'm going to change my pencil. I think what I should do is, so most people have a HB. So we're going to do most of our basic drawings with a HB. And I'm not going to go too huge, just so it's not so much to shade in. Okay, it's a nice easy start. And we're going to go, we're going to continue up, and then his head sort of comes out a bit. But like I say, every week we're building shapes here. We're not getting the finished article. Okay. And then we're going to come down and follow. If you think of the thickness of its neck, this is all sort of equal until it hits the shell. So this from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. And we just soft curve it back like that. Yep. So we've got the floor. We might put floor in maybe. No, let's leave that. So we'll go along the floor to a point. So if you imagine his shell's not there, so ignore his shell, which you can't see anyway, but this is the end of his tail, if that is a tail. And we're going to go soft, and we're just going to just sort of, if he didn't have a shell on and he was naked and running around his house, that's what he'd look like. So that's him when he's basically took his shell to the garage for a little wash. Right, we're going to stick these points in now, which is one sort of comes out here. Okay, and he obviously goes onto his skin, so it goes to there, and it's got a little nodule on the end, so I'm going to just do a little sort of circle. Okay, his other one is behind, so it's behind this, so you can only see a little bit of it. So we're going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to stick a little blob on. Yeah, so it's as if you can see it. So if any kids watching, and this is a big thing with kids about drawing things that are behind things, if need be, you can do it like that, so you can see through the object. And then when you've done, this is more for the kids, you just rub out the bit. Yeah, so if that was his head, yeah, this bit is behind, and this bit obviously is in front because that's in front of the object. So sort of explained in a very simple way. Okay, and he's got these big antennae on the top here, which go up, very slight angle, maybe this high, or as high as you want to make them. And then we'll put another bubble on the top of there, and then he's got another one, which is here, and that sort of goes here, and that's taller. That goes much up, much higher to there. Okay, and it's pretty much. Is that still in focus okay for everyone? Yeah. And that is pretty much how we do the body. I'm going to drag him back in. I'm going to call him Gary because my little boy's obsessed with SpongeBob. So all we've done so far, we've gone along the bottom, we've curved it up, we've put a head on, we've imagined his body, his shell isn't there, and we've followed the curve round to the tail. And we've added this, 4 things. Now we're going to add the shell, and again, with the drawing class, use lines. The top of the shell goes to there. So the top of the shell goes to about the top of this antenna. The back of the shell, yeah, the back of the shell goes before the tail. And that's an easy way. And then if you want, you've got a diagonal line, which is there, which just breaks the object into a shape that you can understand. So we're going to add that in. So I worked out that his tail is somewhere there. So I'm going to add that line in. Okay. And I also worked out that the top of his shell is in line with that. Okay. And we'll go straight across there. Right. I'm going to bring the picture back. That angle there, we're going to try and bring in here. So we've got some sort of shape, and there's your shape. That's it. I'm going to see if I can sneak it. Let me see if I can sneak it on by folding it a little bit so people can see what I'm drawing at the same time. I just have to move my camera a little bit. Is that viewable, or is that too in the highlight? I'll leave it there anyway. I know it's got a big shine on it. I don't want to get too far down the messing about with things, but it gives you a bit more of an idea. So we're going to put his shell on. Now his shell curves from here, and he's got a little edge on it. At this end, this is all curved. So we're going to go from, let's go from here, and we're going to add this in. Now the back end is really tiny, and that's set up here. And then this comes down and up. Okay. So don't forget, after the class tonight, please get on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because we can build up our followers and our community that way. And I will share everybody who sends me a picture of their artwork. I'll share it onto my story, so it will be seen by potentially a couple of thousand people. So let's do that. Okay, there's a bit of a shell. It's not amazing, but it's there. And then we're going to go from here, and we're going to build up, and we've already got the shape. Yeah, and it just sort of sits just a bit above his body. It doesn't even, and it goes in and then curves pretty much like that. So if we bring him in again, that's what you're aiming to try and get, them shapes. And now the next critical part is we're going to introduce these sort of curves. Yeah, and that sort of gives the impression. We can lose our guidelines because we don't need them anymore, because we know we're happy with what we've produced. Yeah, and that's it. That's your pretty much your snail. We'll get rid of the back of his body because you can't see that under the shell. And then we'll just start to do what we've done on all the other drawings. I've got a 3B, which is a heavier pencil. I'm going to add just not even straight lines, just a bit of almost a ripple. And then, you know, he's not a perfect shape, so we're going to do that. I'm going to add this. I don't think it goes to a perfect point. And now this one we'll give some weight to. And we're going to bring it in there like that. And again, this one, add some weight to. And this one, we're going to just do that much, I think. Maybe, and then lift off. And then we'll just sort of send another line over there. Lift off. Yeah, this one's really heavy. This front edge is really heavy. And we're going to go and then lift off to there. Under his chin, I guess he's got a chin. I don't know if he's got a chin. He's a snail, so take that back, Mr. Snail. Okay. So we'll end up with something that looks pretty illustrative, but should look sort of snail-like. But there's no perfect way of doing it. This is, I'll show you each week is how I would go about breaking the shapes down. And hopefully I've had quite a lot of nice messages about it makes it sound easy. It makes it a lot easier to understand, if that makes sense. It is, it's just building shapes up. It's like the craziest maths sums in the world. They'll all start out with the basics of maths involved. So as long as you can learn the basics and you can listen to my class and pick some of these skills up, then you will still, hi Fallon, you will be able to start to pull these shapes out. Now, can you say hello to Claire and Rosie who haven't signed into YouTube? Hello, Claire and Rosie. Hope you're enjoying the class. Sorry, you can sign into it. If it, another good thing that would be lovely for everybody to do is subscribe to my YouTube, because then you get updates and I can start build a bigger community, and we can get a lot more feedback on our artwork, and it gives you a lot more possibilities then going forward of what we want to do. So I'm going to do this nodule at the back first. I don't know any of the technical terms. I am just an artist. But yeah, we're going to do this bit of the shell. All right. Okay. So there's one bit. And then this bit. What we're going to do is bring him back on. We're going to do this one. And if you look, all the curves curve in. So there's none of this. It's more this. You know, it's a lot more soft edge curved. I'll try and leave it on screen just about. And I'm going to use a really light pencil. And I'm just going to show you some very obvious ones. So if you had the time, you could literally spend hours doing this. And we haven't got the time, so it will be a very quick representation. But it's not to say we can't get it. All I'm doing, I'm putting the initial ones in. So let's do this, and then let's go ones in between. And then on the top edge, again, I'm over exaggerating it, but it gives you the idea of how curved it is. And obviously it gets less curved in this section. But that gives you an idea of, let's start with that. Okay. Let's start with that. And then I'm going to do the next ones in a very obvious way. If you look at this line here, we're going to recreate that about 50 times. So we got one here, 2, 3, and that's how we're going to build up the shape. And then when we start adding weight to the lines, yeah, they're all really far apart at the minute, but obviously we are going to add a lot more. Same with the top. Yeah, we're doing the shape of the object. We're not doing straight lines. We're doing as if it's curved. And obviously they get straighter as you get near the middle. Okay, that give you a bit more of an idea. We'll bring Mr. Gary the Snail back in. And now these next ones, if you can see at the top there, they are curved. So we'll go with them first because they're easy. I'm doing them a bit quicker now. Yeah, okay. And then further down, we're going to follow the shape. So his shape is this, and then up there. But if you can see there, I am literally following the shape of his shell. And then further on, it almost curves back in. So it's there, up, and then over the hill, so to speak. And it's something that will take a bit of practice. I'm speeding up a little bit now, so I want to make sure I've got a finished Gary the Snail by the end. So a few things. I'm going to get them out there while we're doing this a little bit. When we finish the class, if you can go on Instagram, follow me. Or if you don't follow me, and then we'll post some pictures. I'll share some to my story. Tell everybody how great the class is. If you've not enjoyed it, tell no one. And then keep building the community that way. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube, do that. And we will build this community up ever bigger. And hopefully beyond lockdown, that would be very nice to be able to sort of continue beyond lockdown. And I know people have less things they can do right now, but it would be nice to continue. You see what I'm doing though now? I'm going past it again now, the same sort of thing. You know, all this is pretty much black. I would do this usually with the weight of the lines, but for speed, I'm going to just do it with shading for now. And then I'm going to go back over it again. What else can we do? To be honest, this is another good way of shading. You've got like cross hatching there. And then where it meets this side, just keep going past again. Every now and again, we'll add a few more. We'll do a bit more up to the top. And obviously you could spend hours doing this, making it really neat, really precise, or you could just do what I'm doing here, which is literally just suggesting what we need to do, what it needs to look like. But the more lines you bring over like this, the more fine that shell will look. And remember, we've got, you know, the tools as well to remove pencil. Right, I'm going to just start adding in a little bit more there, a little bit more there. Okay, so it's starting to get that shape together. In the time we've got, it's starting to build up that shading. It's got a little bit more depth at the bottom because it's obviously got the weight of the shell. I'm going to pronounce that a bit more. We're going to do that. And then on this top edge as well. But you can get a good idea now of how it's starting to take shape just from them initial lines. Okay, I'm going to twist this way and we're going to do a few more on here. So I hope everybody's getting a bit of a snail. I think we probably will end up with a few Gary the Snails. I've been drawing, might be why I've ended up doing a snail, to be honest, because I was drawing SpongeBob, today. If you see now, it's starting to at least gain a bit of shape in the time we've got. Obviously, you can spend more time and make it beautiful. I just want to make sure that you can see that what is possible in this amount of time to achieve. Now, he's got no scales wise. You can literally just make this up. You can go for the shapes. You see the main body of this, other than the scales, is the shading. So the shading it's pretty heavy going. But if we did the shading as a shape and just did it in circles, let me just get this sort of shape. Goes into there, and it goes into there, and it sort of curves up, all right? So as long as that part of our picture is really shaded, so under here is really dark because that's where the weight of the shell is, and then we're lifting off. There's lots of stuff there you're never going to see. So don't be too precious about it. Lift off a bit here, up to his head, and then we'll add a bit of shading in here, and then down. I'll try and make this a little bit more accurate than usual. Okay, we're going to have dark in there. Going to make that one a bit more pronounced. Okay, a bit more there. And then it's up to you. You know, this scaly little thing, I'm just going to do big soft circles of shade, and where I want it darker, I'm just going to go a bit more over it and press on a bit more. So you'll see in a minute. Watch this develop now, he says, like I've drawn lots of snails in my life. This might be the first one ever. All right, I'm going to get rid of that because I don't like that. But I'm just going over and over, making sure that at least if one thing is right, we've got the shading in the right spot. So once that shading's in place, we then got the ability then to just start building it. Oops, I'm going to move him out of the way a bit, and we're going to go to town on it a bit more now. And I'm going to speed up a little bit. We've got about 10 minutes left, so we're not exactly firing against the clock. I'm going to get a lighter one and a really hard pencil now, which is going to be one of the H's, 2H. And the 2H means I can literally just pass it over the page. And if you see there, you'll end up with everything is really fine and hard. It doesn't even have to follow the lines as much. It's good that it does if you've got the time. Again here. Okay. But it's starting to do something now. It's starting to appear as a snail. I'm going to have that. I'm going to put a little bit of shading in there. I'll swap pencils again. Right, I'm going to try and get a bit of the scales in. So you can sort of just see some of them there. So I will leave them on screen. I'm going to go again, think about the shapes. So let's do a line along there. Let's curve it up. So that's our first line. And they are pretty much this. And they've got a curve at the edge because they're obviously, for speed, I'm going to just do that. I'm going to swap to another pencil. This is why I use about 20 pencils when I'm drawing. I'm just going to give it a quick sharpen so it's nice and precise. Right. And then I'm going to start building this again. And again, add another pass to this. And remember, we can take it away. So it just needs to build up a little texture by doing little circles. We don't want any lines anywhere that are obvious. Obviously, up here, we can just scribble if you want. Scribble it in. Okay. Look, we've not done anything here that's, you are literally just lifting off, doing soft scribbles, doing some heavy scribbles. And then what I'm going to start to do then, the pencil is now really soft and got really soft edges. I'm going to start to pull some of these shapes in. And again, you can do whatever you want or whatever you think for this section. I'm just going to make it up. Some of them come down here. Some of them go like that. And then we're going to go up again and add another little section. And obviously the shape of it is that this is almost flat in here. It's almost this shape. So towards this bottom end, it's even more like this. And then again, a few more in here. And then up here where it's sort of straining towards its little neck. I don't know if snails have a neck, but it's got a neck in my head. I'm just going to do a few small ones. And then here I'm just going to pick out the odd one, because this is now your drawing. You do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. We've not got the time to make it exactly the same. So I'm just using artistic license. I'm going to rub some of this away in a minute just to bring it to life again. But you should still be able to see the amount of weight and shade to it. Okay, starting to look snail-like, I think. Again, just suggesting what it should look like. So around. So everybody should be getting something that looks like little Gary here. This bit needs a lot more weight on it because this is going up. Oop, I've lost my pencil. That's not good. Which then gives this more weight. Obviously, when I do portraits, I can spend 20 hours doing a portrait and people like, that's where you build up all these techniques, but obviously you'll do it a bit slower and a bit more carefully. And you will use some of these techniques to build up your drawing. What I want to maybe do in a few weeks, maybe more advanced classes, and maybe do portrait drawing and maybe kids drawings, maybe, we'll see. So this is pretty much our snail. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to lose some of it, which is quite a nice thing to do, because I'm going to use my putty rubber and we're going to bring out some of these sort of highlights, and then I'm going to go in here and add texture to it with my rubber. So you start to lose parts of it. So you can start to bring the shell to life then as well. So you've added loads, and now you basically, I'm taking a bit of it away, and I'm going to get rid of these top lines. So this is a little bit more realistic. So we are going to end up, and Pete was right, we're going to end up with a drawing, a fully finished drawing. Well, I'll say that, fully finished. But you see what I mean? I'm just losing these really harsh edges now. So it's less illustrative. And I'm just rubbing some of these out so it does get that little bit more texture to it. I'm going to get rid of some of these. I'm just going to soften it all up basically. And then I'm going to use a proper rubber. See the difference now? The proper rubber covers it in debris. And I'm going to just add a couple of bits now. A couple of bits extra just to finish it off the last couple of minutes. So I can't use that. Pencil's gone. Pencil's gone. I need that one. That'll do. Which again gives it a bit of extra oomph to the bottom edge. Makes it look a little bit more like it's not just a flat shape. So I hope that looks snail-like. Looks more like a snail than Gary anyway. And you can go to town, do what you want, make it look even more 3D. But yeah, that's our snail. That's what we've done this week. Class number 5, which is pretty amazing. 650 people building. And there we go. Cheers to everybody. So, so we have, thank you very much for joining me again. we managed to do the dragon's eye, which is this sort of thing, which is basically building an eye and then changing the shape and adding a bit of elaborate, which, you know, a little bit of elaborate edging. And we've got our snail, which we've done. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you learned a few things, and I hope that you can use these when you decide to draw at a different time. So what I want to do is get on Instagram, follow me, and share. Let's get the pictures out there. Let's get some on Facebook. Get some more people with us next week. Let's see if we can hit 700 next week. We've got another 50 to go. So tell everybody, get your families drawing, draw against each other, see who's the best. And again, if I see a picture in amongst all the pictures this week that looks really cool, I will send you a little piece of artwork as a gift from me for joining us and for taking part. So any of the kids can be involved in that, and we'll see where that gets us. So yeah, follow Insta, follow Facebook, find my YouTube, try and follow that, and let's keep building on the community. Next week we'll have an announcement about what we're doing, because next week will be the 6th week. So from there we'll decide, are we going to do another 6 weeks? Are we not? And if people want me to do more and want to learn more and maybe have more advanced skills, maybe go a bit further on with portraits and bodies and faces and a lot more this sort of stuff like behind me, then I will happily go down that route, but we'll have to come up with some solution to do. So it's lovely to see everybody. I appreciate your friendship and your community, and stay safe for another week. Keep your heads up, keep positive, and I will see you all in 7 days' time. And if you need me, you know where I am. So nice to see you all, and look after each other. Take care. Bye.